Alright, let's start it up, see if it'll do a burnout. I'd say the startup works. This video has nothing to do with horsepower or good ideas. This simply has to do with we want electric start on our mini bike while drag racing this year. That's it. This built hard is actually a Rado, and this is a DuroMax 208, which is actually a Ducar 212 platform that we built last year to go drag racing on. This is John's hand-me-down from his go-kart that he's been running for 3 years, beating around off-road. I don't think you even changed the oil. I'm gonna take... No, never even changed the oil over 3 years. So it's been well loved, as you can see. But it has electric start, and we have a ton of leftover parts that'll fit it for this season. Why are you still doing thumbs up?
I don't know.
You just kind of glitched?
Yeah.
Okay, so in a previous video, we went in, we took this built hard, we threw it into this chassis. We have done hydraulic brake upgrade on the Oxy Earth. We then set it up in order to be able to run a 30 series torque converter. We walked through all of those steps, including the modification of the frame. Now, our goal for our first day that we have said many times is to have a $50 Hillard clutch on there, a stock internals engine. Granted, we are going to do a governor delete, but we're going to run a tachometer with an RPM limiter, so that way we can test it at stock RPM and then start gauging it up from there. But we would like to do it in style with electric start. And that's what today is about. Okay, John's working on getting the gas tank off. We already popped the cover off of there. As you can see, it's even rusted after all the use and abuse of John. Although, I do get a kick out of the fact that every time I tell John to take a bolt out, I have to see a pause come across his face while he calculates righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Do you have a coworker that has the same glitch? Mine does. John's over here butchering the flange off of an exhaust pipe from stock so that way we can use it as a spacer. It's okay, just get it thrown on. And then put the pipe against it, and that gets us... Whoa! You almost tipped the whole bike over, John. Enthusiasm. That gets us just barely around the frame with the exhaust pipe. And over here with Site Manager Riddler, we've got a sprocket that you guys purchased off of our Amazon gift list for RCG Racing. We really appreciate that. So basically, this is a 60 tooth. These bikes come stock with a 72. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this up. We're going to be on a regular standard clutch, torque converter, and then probably switch it out to the 60 tooth if we end up with some extra time, just to see what we can do to make it go faster. There are minor differences when it comes to a Ducar 212 block versus the Rado R10 block. And one of the big things is being the side where you put your bolts in and everything. The Ducar block has more space for bolts. It's much easier to bolt in. You run in with all kinds of different clearance issues with the Rado block. Now, our big thing right now is we're working on getting the starter set up and things like that. I don't want the ugly starter panel here. It looked nice strapped to the side of the motor, but it is not going to fit on our mini bike application, and I'd like to replace it with something like a push button. One thing you have to plan on if you're going to do that is that your charge wire, your brown wire, has a diode in it. So you need to use this diode and making sure that you have it go in the right direction. This side goes to your battery for charging. This side goes to what's coming out of the engine. So that just plugs in. You put a battery terminal on the other end in order to charge your battery, and you're good to go. As far as a push button start is concerned, you take 12 volts and you zap this wire here with 12 volts, and that kicks over that. Otherwise than that, it's basically the same as any other setup. Wanted to say thank you to AVAPOW. They actually sponsor Redneck Computer Geek, and that's because we bought this years ago and figured out that it has a EC5 or whatever the size connector is that you can order these cheap off Amazon. So basically, I use them until they finally wear out and they get roached. And what you can do is smash this, watch out for the spring, and then drill a hole right through the end of it and use it as a wiring terminal for starters on small engines. We've used it all the way up onto a 713 DuroMax. And so John's going to go to work smashing the hinges, and he has a safety mask on because when the spring comes flying, sometimes it's a tad bit violent. That's my 7.5 pound lead hammer. That's overkill. I like it. I am a big fan of tools that save you money. Being able to crimp your own larger cable ends saves you so much money you don't even realize it until you start doing it. But if you're going to do these small cables like this, one thing I'm going to tell you is you have to crimp it and then 90 degree it and then crimp it again to get them to work. Now granted, like I said earlier, I could have just put that in a vise, drilled the hole out, and then used these ends that were on it from factory. I've done that on many, many builds. I just like to take it one step further nowadays. We have an overly expensive push button here that I don't even remember who sent it to me, but I appreciate the support, and I'm sorry I forgot your name. At this point, we should be able to pop that, turn this over. It should not start because it doesn't have any gas in it. We just want to see if it makes some noise. Cool. Alright, so yet again, all we're doing is just going positive to a push button and then hitting the solenoid on the wire that hangs down from it. We've got our kill tether hooked up through this to ground until we change to a different set of handlebars. We should, in theory, be able to put gas in it and make it fire up now. I've tried to catch this in video a couple of times. You see how it's jumping around? That's because right now our idle is at 1900. That really prefers 1800, and that's the reason why having the tunable idle jet is a big deal from HIPAA carburetor. Alright, let's start it up, see if it'll do a burnout. I'd say the startup works. Alright guys, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for sticking around with us. It starts up, it runs good. It honestly needs a jet upgrade in the carburetor, and for the 5 seconds at the end of this video, I want to have John come around and we're going to show you where the idle return spring goes. So over here, if John comes around, if you buy the kit that I told you for the top plate to replace the stock one that comes on a DuroMax, it comes with extra springs in it, and if you take the smallest spring and you put it here, it'll help your throttle return. So if you have a runaway throttle when you start it up and things like that, most of the time it's because there's not enough throttle return spring right here to be able to stop it. Otherwise than that, as you can see, it runs, it drives. Let's go racing.